I remember Tampa, the way she used to be, the places we would run to, the faces we would see. Yes, I remember Tampa with precious memories, a city rising on the move, a simple yet progressive groove. Yes, I remember Tampa, she remembers me.
Welcome to the Tampa Natives Show. Stay tuned now for the fastest 60 minutes in cable broadcast history. Live from the studios at TBCN, the home of the Tampa Natives Show. Join your hosts, Mario Nunez, the 15-minute girl, and Steve Canella, as they celebrate growing up in Tampa. From Shock Armstrong to Shakey's Pizza, from Braddock Street to Buffalo Avenue. Get ready to call in and tell us your stories, because sharing your memories has never been this much fun. And now, Mario Nunez, the 15-minute girl, and Steve Canella. Hi, Tampa Native Show fans. So happy that you're out there watching us tonight. Welcome back to this, your Thursday night, 7 o'clock edition of the Tampa Native Show. As always, seated alongside my broadcast partner, Steve Canella, and back in studio and on the table with us this week, Sally Nunez.
Right.
We're so
Welcome
happy
back.
to have her back. I'm Mario Nunez. We'd like to say thank you for tuning in. We know it's miserable outside. The weather's breaking down. It's going to get cold and nasty. What better place to be on a Thursday night than right here with us at the Tampa Native Show?
Absolutely.
We've got a special show for you tonight. You know, Steve mentioned our guest tonight to us. I guess it's almost been about a year. Steve mentioned, you know, Mario, what do you think about Father Tom Morgan, or maybe even Monsignor Higgins coming in and doing a show? Yeah. Well, we reached out to Father Tom, and he said, you know, that's not a bad idea. We met him this past week at La Aguila, on Hillsborough Avenue there, and here he is. He's going to be in studio joining us in just a few minutes. We've got pictures. And lots and lots of good stories. So get ready as you always do. We'll give you that phone number in just a few minutes so you can call in, ask your questions of Father Tom, share a collective memory with us. And that's what we do here at the Tampa Native Show. Steve, so much going on, so much going on. I got my list here. Shall I go over it?
You know, let's
get started. Let's talk about what we did this past Monday. This past Monday, the Tampa Native Show, because we roll like that, we decided to join Joey Redner and Cigar City Brewing, which has a bowling league that started at Regal Lanes. Excuse me, Pin Chasers. Yeah, Pin Chasers Midtown. No, it's Regal Lanes for Tampa Natives. Okay, right there on Armenia Avenue, just south of Hillsborough. So we joined the league. The good news is, if you're out there and you're watching, and you're an old kegler like I am. What is an old kegler? It's just an old bowler. I don't even know what that means.
That term. Sounds good.
It's an old bowling term. If you're an old bowler like I am and you'd like to join us, please get your team together, 4-member teams. We're going to be doing it every Monday, 7 o'clock for the next 12 weeks. Lots of fun, great group of people.
Yeah, they are a bunch.
I will suggest to you, if you haven't been to the lanes in a while before doing so next Monday, get out there and stretch. Because I woke up Tuesday morning and my hamstrings were talking to me.
Muscles you didn't even know you had.
Wow, the shoulder was, wow.
A little sore.
But I saw Carl Sardegna down there at Regal Lanes, and he's drilled me a new ball. I pick it up tomorrow. Hey, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's over March the 30th, so 12 quick weeks. Join us. There's plenty of room. Tuesday night.
That was great.
Tuesday night, we went to Castillo's Cafe and Catering right there in the heart of West Tampa. Again, Armenia, just north of Main Street. We got together with Brian K. Deary.
Remember, bring a picture 0, if you will, too.
There you go.
Yeah.
He was our guest last week on the show. And Brian, young documentarian, there he is. He's on the right-hand side, second from the right in the middle there between Ricky T. Parnell and Jacob Rush. Brian is putting together a documentary entitled Tampa, An Intimate History. And we had him on the show. Brian has a lot. Hey, there we go in the foreshaw. We weren't ready for Father Tom, but apparently Father Tom is right there. So Beck,
welcome.
Thank you,
Father
Beck.
Tom.
Welcome to live TV, Father Tom. They saw you.
It was a
Father Tom.
sneak peek.
The
that's
mystery, the veil has been lifted. All right. So back to Castillo's Cafe and Catering. So thank you so much for everybody that showed up.
Yeah,
great
it was
time.
fun.
Listen, we talked about it before on the show. For those of you that are willing to help us in our fundraising, go to our website. This weekend, we're going to have the new shirt pictured up there. Your donations help us stay viable, help us stay on the air. $50 donation. What do you get for your $50 donation? You get one-of-a-kind shirt. We only made 50 of them. 50? No, 30. Forgive me. We only made 30 of them. The front it says Tampa Natives Show. The back it says Production Crew. For your donation, we're going to make you an honorary member of the Tampa Natives Show production crew. And each week on the closing credits, your name is going to appear in support of the show. What else do you get? Stevie, what else do you get? I'll tell you what else you get.
Exactly right.
You get a special invitation to join us here in studio, to be a part of a live studio audience. Now that's pretty cool.
That's real
also,
cool.
you go to the top of the VIP list, so whenever we have an event, you get the invitation before anybody else does. So it's a little bit to ask, but I got to tell you, let me read these names to you, people that have already ponied up the money.
Takers already.
Absolutely.
We sure did.
Philip and Carmen Nunez. Well, for those of you that know, that's my parents. Thanks, Mom and Dad. You're always right there first with the check, and we love you for that. Mike and Cindy Baluja, thank you for your support. Joe Abini and Pat Lambert, thank you for your love and support. And Robert and Carrie Gonzalez.
And my sister Suzanne.
And Suzanne, that's right, and Suzanne Hester, thank you.
That's right.
Thank you
Listen,
all.
we can't do it without you guys. We are self-funded right here, and we love our sponsors, and we love our corporate sponsors, and we love our mom and pop businesses. So thanks. We're going to continue to do this because we love what we do. We couldn't do it without you.
So true.
And it's a really, really cool shirt. All right, one more thing before we get to Father Tom. Tonight at 10 o'clock on Channel 13, that's WTVT, Big 13, most recently Fox 13, okay? Lloyd Sowers. You know Lloyd Sowers. He does the weekend, 11 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Well, he did a piece on Jim Robicani. And of course you remember Jim Robicani. That's going to air tonight at 10 o'clock. I'm sure he's going to mention the Tampa Natives Show.
I hope so.
I hope so, because I set my DVR for that. Lloyd, thank you so much for reaching out to us.
That's a good reason.
And another guy who's been kind of, dabbling and calling us and trying to find out what's going on with the Tampa Natives Show, a cat named Peter Bernard. Some of you may know him. He's over there at Channel 8. He's everywhere, man, with his microphone and his camera guy. Anyway, he was here tonight, and he talked to us a little bit because...
Talk to you.
Well, he talked to all of us. Another big announcement today coming out of the White House having to do with Cuba. And for those of us like myself and so many of us here in Tampa who have Cuban roots and origins that go all the way back to Vicente Martinez Ybor, this is a big day for us. It's a real big day because things are starting to happen. The ice is melting, and I think even though the only ones that can lift the ban, outright lift the ban, is Congress. And you know the Congress is now being sworn in. We already know the machinations and all the politics involved. However, our president's doing all he can to push the ball downfield, and he's doing a great job. In my humble opinion, that's the first bell ring of the night for
President Obama.
For President Obama. All right, we'll talk a little bit about Cuba with Father Tom in just a second. Becky, without further ado, if you'd like to go ahead and bring up that 4-shot, we want to say thank you so much to Peter Bernard for coming out this afternoon. We'll see him again, I'm sure. Good guy. There's our 4-shot.
There it is.
And there's Father Tom. Father Tom, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to have you
We're
here
so
today.
glad. I know the weather was bad. And
Traffic was bad.
And traffic was bad. Because we remember Tampa when Tampa was just this
No
big.
traffic.
And you could get from Gandy Boulevard to Carrollwood in probably about 15 minutes. You can't get from Kennedy Boulevard to Columbus Drive in 15 minutes now. But thank you so much for making the effort to come out and be with us.
Well, my mom lives in Plant City, so I drove to her house so I wouldn't have to fight the traffic.
Is she going to watch the show?
Is she watching now?
She's supposed to if she can figure out the cable channel. But
Oh, okay.
Now, she's in Plant City, you said?
She is, yeah.
You know, we hear from some of our friends that live out in the eastern part of Hillsborough County, and a lot of them have Comcast.
Yeah.
Or not, a lot of them in a certain small area.
Or some of them,
Comcast
right.
doesn't have a
Yeah.
great deal of market share, but in certain parts, whether it's 6 Mile Creek or Plant City proper, Comcast still has a stronghold. So if it's Comcast, it's channel 20. If it's Verizon, it's 30, and if it's Bright House, it's 950. Wow, Stevie, look who's here.
I know, this is great. Well, we met Father Tom a couple weeks ago at La Aguila, and we were there for about an hour. And the whole hour, we talked all about growing up in Tampa. The things we did were the
You
same
did the
things
same
that Father Tom was doing.
Sure.
Playing, bowling at Regal Lanes, skating at the skating rink.
Sure.
So we have so much in common. In fact, I want to thank you also, Father Tom, for all the pictures that you provided tonight too. You're gonna really love these photos. They're amazing.
What was the highlight of the breakfast? Besides seeing everybody there, because the place was a buzz of activity. You know,
Oh, it was amazing.
And Mario, the owner, was bouncing from table to table, saying, meeting and greeting everybody. It was
the
the highlight of the morning.
The highlight was when Father Tom paid our.
There we go. Stevie didn't miss it.
he bought
That
a
was a
breakfast
softball. In the business, we call that a softball. I went to
was
reach
great.
for the check and it was gone.
I know.
And I said,
Oh,
Father Tom, what'd you do?
nice.
He goes, I got this.
Yeah, thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you
That's
for
the way
doing that.
Father
More
Tom
than
rolls.
welcome.
That was
Yeah,
great.
we've got about 25 images that we're going to show you,
Sure.
going all the way back to Father Tom getting a haircut in his backyard. And a
my
beautiful little shot,
favorite.
a
Yeah.
beautiful shot of him with his Easter basket and his bare feet in his backyard doing some Easter egg hunting.
You'll love him.
Tremendous. So let's start at the beginning. Siblings, parents, were you born here? How fast did you get here if you weren't born here?
I was born in Thibodaux, Louisiana.
There you go.
But we moved to Tampa. My dad was transferred. He worked for Freeport Sulphur in the port.
Sure.
And I think there's a picture
We have some.
of that tonight. But he got transferred in 1961.
Okay.
So we moved. We lived in I don't even remember I think it was near Britton Plaza
Oh, really?
originally, just for a short time. And then we moved to Wellswood. And I think from 1961 to probably around 1969, we lived there. So, and then we moved to Egypt Lake. So, this has been my life. And what I really appreciate about the program is that these are the things that mean so much to me that you can't talk about with everybody. They don't have the
Right.
same sense of appreciation
Right.
of that.
Yeah.
So you were saying earlier, you talk about Braddock Street.
Yes.
Everybody who grew up in Tampa knows about
Yes.
Braddock Street
Yes.
and Christmas decorations.
Christmas Card Lane
And
on
Christmas
Bay
Card Lane
Shore.
on Bay Shore, sure.
Yeah.
So.
That's, I think, the neat part that binds us all.
It
We talk
is.
about it here each and every week on the show. We can't repeat this enough because it's special. It was an amazingly special time to grow up here, Father Tom, and we all share the same memories. What I was doing in my neighborhood, Steve was doing in his, you were doing in yours. Whether it was riding our bike, whether it was chasing tadpoles in the ditch, whether it was roller skating on Saturday afternoon, we were all doing the same thing. And Temple was a very close-knit and very comfortable community. We all looked after each other, and you couldn't misbehave because Mrs. Garcia down the road would be telling you, I'm going to tell your parents. So
Everywhere you went,
you couldn't be too
saw
mischievous.
somebody you knew.
Any brothers or sisters?
Thank you. I was going to. I apologize for not answering your question, but my sister. I have a sister, Jerry. We all lived in Wellswood. Mom and Dad, my sister, and Michael and Kelly came later when we lived in Egypt Lake. But
So 4 altogether.
4 all together. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
It's like me. I had 4.
Yeah, same here.
And
Four.
well, I had 3.
You had 3?
Okay,
Okay.
so I'm
You're
going
outnumbered.
to ring the
You're
bell
outnumbered.
for the 3 club because these guys are in the 4 club and I don't qualify. So, Father Tom, we know that you went to St. Lawrence, correct?
That's correct.
From beginning, from first grade?
From kindergarten.
From
Oh.
kindergarten.
No early childhood then, but from
Right.
kindergarten
Yeah.
through 8th grade.
Where are you in the order of the children and the siblings?
I'm the oldest.
Okay, the trailblazer.
Well,
Number 1, numero uno. Get out there and do your thing. So St. Lawrence, this is the part that I find compelling. You went to school at St. Lawrence, your entire education, elementary education process. And then from there, as we know, you went to Tampa Catholic.
Correct.
Many of our viewers out there are from,
They are.
they're Tampa Catholic Crusaders, and they're Tampa Catholic grads. And hopefully they'll call in when we open the phones in a little bit. But now, you're back at St. Lawrence. I mean, that's got to be cool.
You've gone full
That's
circle.
got to be cool. I mean, right? You're comfortable. I mean, that's your.
Well, it's a unique thing because you usually don't go back to the parish that you grew up in. But Monsignor Higgins, as we know, is very prominent both in our community as well as the church.
Right.
And I think Bishop Robert Lynch, the bishop of our diocese, asked him, who would he like? I don't think that often happens, but
That's
Like
out of
you.
respect because it's Monsignor Higgins.
So
Yeah.
and so I've been there 8 years at St. Lawrence, and I've enjoyed every moment of it.
Monsignor
That's
Higgins,
fantastic.
as Steve will remind us, and he does not hesitate to remind us, Monsignor Higgins, also known as
The Pope in Tampa.
the Pope in Tampa, or
Pope of Tampa.
Steve gets a little more specific. He usually says the Pope of West Tampa. That's
Oh,
what
West
Tampa.
right, Steve?
Yeah, yeah.
But he's, the man has been there, done it all, and he's seen it all, and he's a repository of tremendous history here in Tampa, and we would love to reach out to him as well. Did you ever get a chance to talk to Monsignor Higgins, Father Tom? I know we didn't talk about this before we went on the air and we're on live TV, but did he show you that he may be inclined to come out and be on the show?
I told him I'd happy to drive me. He said fine.
Oh, that's
great.
wonderful, and
But-
hopefully he's looking in on us tonight.
Well, he's probably watching the football game.
That's probably true.
But anyway,
Yeah, he's big
but
into sports.
You said about the Pope of Tampa. When I was growing up, he had on his desk not the Pope, but he had the title God. So you know,
Wow. Let's ring the bell on that one.
Quite a step up.
people who went to St. Lawrence know that true.
That's interesting.
funny.
Well, and we can only imagine, and you'll get there as well, Father Tom, in time, and we're the same age. We graduated class of 76, TC and Jefferson. But how many baptisms? How many weddings has he presided over? Funerals. I mean, Monsignor Higgins is the go-to guy. He even went to Cuba 10 years ago with Mayor Greco and a group that went to Cuba. So yeah, he's quite a Tampa treasure in his own way.
Absolutely.
And he's from Ireland, correct, Stevie? I mean, when he came here, does he still have the deep Irish? Can he call it out?
He does, but when you do have him on the show, he considers Tampa his home.
There you go.
And
That's special.
it's his real desire to be buried, in Tampa, where, as he would say, with the people that you serve. So he feels very deeply about that.
Well, you help us bring Monsignor Higgins out, and that will be a high water mark for sure.
We'll have a part 2 for sure.
our show. So can we get to some pictures, Stevie?
Let's do that.
Because we have so many,
we have
and
a
they're
lot.
wonderful, and we don't want to miss one. So what we do here on the Tampa Natives Show in cases like this is we typically show picture-in-picture, and Father Tom gets an opportunity to narrate the pictures and tell us what he sees and what's in the picture, so you guys can enjoy it at home. I'll sit back and be quiet for a minute. That's hard for me.
It's very hard for him.
Very
I can vouch
difficult
for
for
that.
me. But Becky, take it away. Let's go ahead and
Picture
start
number
with
one.
picture one.
Yep, number 1.
What you're seeing there is Bar Drive in Wellswood. That's actually the second house we lived in on Bar Drive. My parents rented a home a couple houses down, and then they purchased this home.
It's a nice house.
Well,
It's nice and big.
And I don't know
big.
about y'all, but I'm guessing it's probably true. If you grew up here in Tampa, I drive past there. It's near Tampa Catholic and
Yeah.
off of Rome, so I drive past there I think many people do that, just
Yes,
to see
I
the
do.
old house.
I
Sure.
And it looks
still a
smaller, doesn't it?
And still a
Yeah.
neighborhood that
Yeah.
has retained its value. It's a
Absolutely.
wonderful neighborhood.
Becky,
Next
we'll go ahead
picture
and,
back. There we go.
There it
Who
is.
is this
Look at that
little
cutie
fella?
little guy.
Well, I don't recall exactly where that picture was taken, but I thought it was interesting that you see the age of the cars.
I was
Those
going
are
to say, look
certainly-
at those cars.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Looks like a falcon.
It is.
Now, that's Easter, but what's very interesting, I think this is even a better picture, that's taken in the house that we just saw a second ago. And if you look past, that's Donna Jones's garages. That's the Jones's garage way down there. But one of the things that was interesting back when we were growing up in Wellswood is that there were no fences.
Right.
And so my uncles, two of my uncles, Roy Roundtree and Paul Roundtree, lived with us, and they would play football in that. It was like a football field in your own backyard.
Massive, big.
So today, every one of those houses have a fence, but
Wow.
back then they didn't.
They had a clothesline.
That's
Everybody
absolutely.
had a clothesline.
No dryers.
Nope.
Hey, wait a minute. What is this?
This is a classic.
Jimmy the Pony.
Excuse me, Father Tom's got a Jimmy
Even
the Pony
Father
picture?
Tom has
Absolutely.
the Jimmy the Pony picture.
Now,
Holy cow.
what I really like about this is that picture was taken on November 20th, 1963,
Well, we all know what happened the 22nd.
but
Yeah.
was 2 days, right? President Kennedy came on
Correct.
18th, on
Correct.
the 18th.
Yeah.
Correct.
My parents, my mom and dad, and their friends, Bud and Louise Murray, who lived on the other side of Wellswood, we went to Al Lopez Field, and we got to sit on where the president
You were
drove
there?
out. I was there,
Tom, you were
and,
there.
and I recall that very vividly.
Of course.
Him driving out and looking up towards us, and
were 5
waving.
years old.
That,
We would
that I
remember that.
recall.
You
Sure,
never
of
forget
course.
that memory.
No, but
I
went.
saw the motorcade down.
Did you go? Well, we went to the
Yeah.
Armory afterwards. After he went to Al Lopez Field, but we.
And
we
then I
didn't
think
stay
from
for
there to
that.
the International Inn. But listen, let's not detract with talk of JFK, because we're not really interested in JFK right now. You got a Jimmy the Pony
I know.
picture.
I know.
Everyone except Monty and I
Except us.
have a Jimmy the Pony
Really?
picture.
But thanks to Photoshop.
I don't know why.
And Dan Perez, we have a
They-
Jimmy.
they made one.
That's an excellent picture.
And I have a
Yes.
couple.
And what's going on here?
Well, that's the old house, the first house we lived in, which is 2 houses down to the one that we just saw a few moments. It's a birthday party. It must have been my 5th birthday party or something along that, 5th or 6th, I think.
Yeah. I made a collage on that. There was
see
quite a
that.
few.
We see
So
that
the
because
neighbor kids, the
it's hard to tell where one picture starts and the other one finishes, but you know, there's a lot of kids.
There's a lot of
Well, the
photos.
kids I would recall, the McMullen family lived down the street.
Yeah.
They moved to Beacon in Wellswood later. Mike and Karen and Peggy and Bobby and.
Yep, I went to school with them.
And they also went to St. Lawrence and Tampa Catholic. And there's Ricky Rigsby and Donna Jones, who lived a couple houses down from us. So.
Now, being a Wellswood guy, did you play baseball at all?
No.
Wellswood
No,
Little
I
League?
didn't.
Okay.
My dad and I would play in the backyard, but I was never on the league.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and we want to continue, but we also want to mention at this point, before we get to this picture here, and Father Tom, your memory is tremendous, but it's just like ours because, you know, these were such wonderful times for us. But I don't know that we've had a guest on our show that dropped so many names. Go ahead, Father Tom, you name dropper. I want you to, because it's wonderful, though, because
That's great.
It just shows how much these people meant to you. These were our friends, our childhood friends, and they still, you know, we still remember those times. And we didn't have the cameras and the video cameras. Can you imagine if we could have captured those moments?
That's one thing I
It's
miss.
like
Shame.
the kids
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
The kids today have the technology, but maybe don't value the friendships. We valued the friendships. We didn't have a camera. We didn't care. We have it right here and here.
Absolutely.
Yes.
What's next?
Picture 6.
Again, just another
get-together.
picture of the long backyard there, the kids
Beautiful.
playing.
That was a
Wellswood
big
there.
backyard.
Yeah, there's a basketball hoop there.
Yeah.
You see there?
That was Tampa.
Somebody.
Well,
yeah,
that's my
One big
dad's
backyard.
boat. He,
your dad put that basketball hoop up for you
yeah,
guys?
he did, but that's the next picture you're seeing there is a very unpleasant picture. I think
Not for me.
Well, no, I think my dad tried to cut my hair twice. Back then, I prefer a crew cut. You know, it's a very easy haircut to
is,
take care of. But
You didn't look happy in that photo.
no, that's for sure.
But look at the oil tanks in the background.
Look at the old
Kerosene tank,
lawn
yeah.
chair, too, with the webbing.
Yeah, the chaise lounge with the webbing and the trash, the aluminum trash cans.
Wow.
Yep.
I think-
Everybody had that.
The
By the
same-
time your house was not special. I just want
No,
to
that's true.
point that
Well,
out.
it was special to him.
But no, but that's what made it special to all of us, man.
That's so
because
true.
we all had this, you know, we all could. That's a kerosene tank that used to provide
Heating
heating
fuel.
oil.
That was our heating.
Heating oil.
We had
yeah, for the heaters,
we
kerosene
had
heaters.
a backup. I don't know what you would call it, but it backed up, and the soot went through all of the house when we were a
septic
kid.
Oh, no.
tank?
No, the oil,
the
the
oil.
oil heating,
Yes.
whatever it was,
Because you know,
which was run on.
some houses, Stevie, had septic tanks before the city. You
Yeah,
know,
that's true.
If you were out in the outskirts before the city came out there with the. Wow, we're old, Steve. I'm telling you.
But that was my dad's last time he cut my hair, and then I went to a member. He was a member of St. Lawrence Parish. His name was Mr. Ralph. He used to cut my hair. His shop was on Hillsborough.
Oh, Hillsborough Plaza?
No, it was further down. What today is ABC Pizza.
Right.
Further down, further east, Mr. Ralph's shop was. And what was ABC Pizza today used to be a Burger Queen.
Nice.
Before
That's
ABC.
right.
Nice.
Yeah.
See,
That's my section of town. So
Yes,
I
sir.
can,
It's
I
your
can tell you.
stomping ground.
That was your
Now, how'd
backyard.
you get over? Did you ride your bike?
I did.
What'd you have? Stingray? Western Flyer? Where'd you get your
A
bike?
Western Flyer. From Western
Did you
Auto.
ride a Western Auto? That's
We all got our bikes at
Western
Western Auto.
Yeah.
only the best for our
I missed
friends.
that
Next
story.
photo. That's a great photo, by
Yes,
the
it
way.
is. Brings back memories for me, too.
As I mentioned, my dad worked for Freeport Sulphur, and that's a picture of Sulphur Terminals, which still exists. The
Sure.
same company doesn't own it now, but that's my dad's boss, Jack McMaster. They lived in Seminole Heights, and so that's all the employees of Sulphur Terminals there on Hooker's Point.
Hooker's Point.
Yeah. Again, another shot.
Hard hats, yeah.
Sulfur was used to make sulfuric acid for phosphate.
Sure.
So,
Big industry here.
absolutely.
Now, did he
Gypsum.
retire from there? Did he work?
He did. He
What,
did. He
30
worked for
years?
40 years.
40 years, wow. Oh, how about this?
Anheuser-Busch.
Oh, wait a minute.
Look at this.
That was the obligatory picture
Yep,
by the
everybody
plastic
took it.
horse.
Everybody took that.
And yeah, so and the welcome to Busch Garden, Anheuser-Busch Busch Gardens
Anheuser.
sign.
So any relatives come from Louisiana, that was always the first
Yeah.
stop. to take
Always.
them.
Yep.
Free pretzels,
Yes,
and
sir.
then free beer for
Free beer.
the men and women,
That's
the
right.
adults.
And then the bird show.
The best thing, and the bird show, that's
Yeah.
right. I always liked, and the birds would pick off your buttons.
Yeah.
But what I liked is the smell when you walked in the
hops.
brewery.
Yeah.
I always thought, if only tasted like it smelled, beer.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Good.
Well, Steve can tell you a little bit about that. Steve still smells that in his dreams.
I do. 17 years as a brewer at Busch Gardens. And a lot of people don't remember that when you go up the escalator, at first there were penguins. No, there were seals first.
Seals. I
And then
remember those
then they had
seals.
penguins after that, and then later on I think they had an American bald eagle under there.
I could close my eyes and still walk through. You know, you're walking through the exhibit where you look down on the kettles and where they're brewing and it's cold down there and the guys are all dressed in there like you were, Steve. You were one of those guys. Not when we were kids, but later.
Right.
And then I'm going to the hospitality house and marveling at how the guy was pouring the beers and
sliding them.
sliding
down
and never one toppled, and they were
bar.
perfect pours with perfect every time. And the parents would the men would all be leaving with two, and we'd be out there with a little Browning cameras trying to take pictures of the koi in the pond. You know, the little koi, the goldfish.
Oh, yeah.
What memories? You did that too, right?
I don't remember.
World's
the
largest escalator or longest escalator.
Yeah, it was. It was.
That was it. And the monorail. They had the monorail and the animals as well.
It was incredible.
What did it cost to get in there, Stevie? Probably $2.50.
Maybe that, if
I don't
that.
even
$3.
remember.
Yeah.
I don't know.
$3. All right, next photo.
Let's look at the next one. You're going to remember this one, Mario.
Here we go. You sure? Is it Gasparilla?
And
Tell me
Sally
it's
too.
Gasparilla.
Both of y'all. There it is.
Oh, the Rainbow Bridge.
Rainbow Bridge.
That's my aunt, myself, Carolyn Foray. And
It looked so big when you were a kid.
It
it
does,
was.
right?
It did. It did. They had a mean goose.
Oh,
You remember
yeah,
that?
you know?
That would
that's
chase
right.
you
would
and
chase
pat
you.
I
That's
vaguely
right.
do now that you mention that.
Yeah.
And squawk at you.
And the other thing was the exciting thing at Laurie Park, of course, was the train ride.
Sure.
Yes.
And they always had the guy who was sitting on the outhouse. The door would open when you passed
Oh,
by. If you
yes.
recall that.
Father
I forgot
Tom,
about
the things
that.
you remember.
The people sadly would. It's sad. It was sad. They would throw things at the monkeys, and the monkeys would
I
throw. The
know.
chimpanzees
Yes,
would throw things
yes.
back,
I
and they
know.
would throw a cigarette.
Cigarette, they
and,
smoked a
Yeah.
cigarette.
Remember that?
and there was a big incident that happened where somebody sadly
Harpooned
killed
it.
one of the seals.
Yes.
And the kids of Tampa, raised money to get a new seal.
replace
Right.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Now I'm going to ask Father Tom if he remembers this. Do you remember the hot plastic molding machines?
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right? See?
It was a gorilla, a dolphin, a
Always
seal.
the dolphin, I remember.
I remember the
yeah.
dolphin.
And the gorilla, you had to hold them upside down while they cooled, because if you turned them over too quick and they were hot, your gorilla turned into a rock, I think. It was like your pet rock. It was,
Safety Village.
come on.
Oh, yeah.
The big plane, which I don't know what plane model
big-
plane
yeah, it was
Big, great plane.
That was a great bomber.
Yeah,
I don't know.
World War II
What was-
bomber.
Yes,
probably.
it was. Yes, a tail drag, like a DC-3 kind of that tail
wonder where
drag.
that went.
It was parked right by
Fire
bumper
truck.
cars. Remember the bumper cars were across the tracks, right next to it. And every Easter, our family would reunite there. And where did you go? So you went to Robles Park for Easter?
Well, we
at
went
Belfast?
to, mainly we would go to Laurie Park.
Oh, Laurie Park as
Yeah,
well?
but also Rowlett Park.
Oh, Rowlett. I knew
Rowlett
we
Park,
started
too.
with an
We
R.
did both.
So we were all there at the same time.
And putt-putt golf across the street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fantasia.
Fantasia.
Fantasia Golf. They had an A course and a B course. You know, A was a little more advanced and B was like for beginners, for little kids. But, you know, there's a good chance, Father Tom, that you were standing in front of me in line waiting for the bumper cars while Steve was standing behind me waiting. You know what I mean? I
Very
didn't know
true.
you back then. I didn't know you back then. Roller coaster, tilt the
You know it
whirl,
now.
scrambler,
Yes, Scrambler.
Oh, that's right. That was my
all the
favorite.
rides.
Tilt-a-whirl.
You know, we did a couple shows on
Laurie
Laurie
Park.
Park, so you'll have to.
Great
I'll
memories.
send you the link so you can kind of watch those.
Thank you.
Well, you know what? How many more photos we got, Stevie?
Well, we're about halfway through.
Halfway through. Let's ramble through the rest, and then we'll get to our phone. Callers, get ready. We're going to ask for your calls in just a minute, and I know you're waiting for that call. So get ready. We're going to call for those in just a minute. Next photo, Becky. We'll go through quicker now. Oh.
Now, what is missing on this photo, Mario?
Anheuser-Busch Clydesdales.
No, the,
The barricades.
Barricades.
The barricades. There's no barricades. That's the Gasparilla Parade?
Is this your
Is
family?
that the circus coming to town?
Oh, no, I think the
that's the
Gasparilla
circus.
But my greatest memories from that, and I think there is a shot we'll see in a second, is
Although it
of
could be.
Mayor
It looks like Gasparilla.
Nick Nucio.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
In his top hat and his sash, and he used to throw out
little
dollar
chocolate-
bills with his picture on it.
Right.
Yes.
And of course, what wouldn't happen today at Gasparilla, I don't think they do. I haven't been in
The
a long-
guns?
The guns, they used
blanks
to get
and
the
the
caps.
shells.
Yeah, that was
correct.
loud,
The shells.
too.
Yeah.
I don't think I have that photo of Mayor Nuccio, though.
No, but
Oh.
you have.
You remember it well.
Okay.
But Colonel Sanders.
Colonel
Yeah,
Sanders,
that's it.
that was a
That-
good one, yeah.
that-
We
there
have-
he is.
There he is.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah.
Did you know that picture was in there? Because, I mean, was that clairvoyance or
I
what's
saw
going
it
on?
earlier.
Because if Father Tom
he
knows
saw it
that we
already.
got the pictures and they're coming up, and
We were looking at them earlier.
I'm going to ask for the
When
6
you were
numbers
doing
this
your
Saturday, if
thing.
you don't mind, Father Tom. Colonel Sanders, tremendous.
this is a big
Tremendous.
Look at that. Well, you know, now we're actually transitioning to St. Lawrence. This is St.
Oh,
Lawrence.
that's the open
Is
field.
what is this? It's an open field.
That's where St. Lawrence.
Is that before they built
That's
it?
before they built
Look
it.
at that.
That's the corner of Himes and Hillsborough, right?
Oh, no
Wow.
way.
Right. Yeah.
No way.
And I remember the pine trees when I was going to school there.
Sure.
Definitely.
They were there for
Because
years.
if you parked your car later on under the pine
Wow.
trees, you got a surprise when you got back to your
Not
car.
much open field now.
Is this the groundbreaking, Father Tom?
I believe it is, correct.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next one.
Look
There it
at
is.
that.
No, that's a very old picture. You got the school, right now, we have 2 floors on our school. So that's the original school there, which only went about halfway to what it does now. And then the rest of the classrooms were added on eastward, and the second floor was added on later.
And what's laying on the ground in the foreground is an old cone that
I
we
was
would,
gonna say, it
the
looks like a
patrols
cone.
Traffic
would
cone.
put out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
traffic
traffic
cone.
cone
Absolutely.
on Himes Avenue.
Yep.
Wow, does that look like it's not Tampa?
It doesn't.
You know what I mean? That looks like it's definitely, is that Mayberry RFD? I'm not sure what that is.
That's amazing.
It was
Yeah.
almost like that here.
It was, and I missed that.
I do too.
Now that's First Communion in 2nd grade, so that would have been when I was 7.
And I think I picked you out. I think you're, if I'm not mistaken, 3rd on the bottom right.
I'm going to have to take your word for it.
Yeah, no,
I
me too,
can't
Steve.
Can't see it
that
from here.
far.
Me too. A lot of blonde
Your
kids
eyes
there.
are
it looks
You
better.
like.
see the
Yeah. A lot of
sister,
blondes.
Christopher and Sister Clemens, they were the first principal. Steve knows Sister Helen, who was the principal when
Right.
we were there, but Sister Clemens was a principal from the Sisters of St. Clair, who are still in the area. They're not involved in the parish anymore, but were the first nuns at our school and church.
Yeah, great photo.
That's my sister was adopted. Jerry was adopted from Catholic Charities in St. Petersburg, and that's when Jerry. I think it's a 1963 picture. We bring Jerry. Might have even been the baptism, and that's Monsignor, then Father Higgins.
Look
Wow,
at
My
that
mom,
young guy.
Joyce, my dad, Tom, and myself.
Great photo.
So
that is a terrific photo.
his First Communion picture there.
Nice.
So there's the old church. That's what you're looking at. Is inside the old church.
Hey, when I had my first communion, I had an old white suit on. It was a whole big rigmarole. I had the white suit, and I looked
seen
good in
that
that suit. I still have that picture too.
We need a
My
picture
hair
of
was
that.
frightening though. I got to be honest with you. I had some Brill cream in that thing, but those were great. You didn't have the white suit. What happened there, Father Tom? You were just in your regular clothes. I
I
don't
had
know.
a tie on.
Ours was special stuff. I don't know how to buy a special suit. Okay, that's a great picture though.
Now, this is very significant for somebody who went to Tampa Catholic during my time, 1972 to 1976. That was the TC symbol that was in the parking lot. It's no longer there, but this was the one that was painted by the class of 73 there, and we repainted it. My class put a chain around it so people wouldn't walk on it. But when there was a rivalry, always been a rivalry between Tampa Catholic and Jesuit.
Jesuit, right.
And this would oftentimes get painted blue. I have great respect for Jesuit. We have a good number of our students that go there, and I'm very thankful to Father Hermes, the president, and all the good work that Jesuit does. But my ideal death when I was at Tampa Catholic would have been defending this TC symbol from the Jesuit hordes.
Nice,
So-
very nice.
That's great.
Jesuit
That's
hordes.
great.
Listen, you got the D.
Make sure, please make sure you said, get that right. All right.
I think you did say frog, right? We got frog coverage. Yeah, there was absolutely. But the best part about it was defending it to the death.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the depth to which your pride. I mean, you took that whole Crusader thing to.
Oh,
to
then
heart.
I did. Now I'm much more mellow. And
Okay, well, you know, age will do that,
That's
Father
correct.
Tom.
That's
Age will do that to you.
great.
All right, Stevie, we got a couple more to go.
We do. In fact, what is this?
This is
like a
the
play or
homecoming skit my freshman year. It was the beginning of my political career. I was freshman, sophomore, junior class president,
Okay.
and student government president. But this launched me in my political career at Tampa Catholic. At that point at Tampa Catholic, I was hoping to go into politics, be president of the United States. I promised my class at our senior class reunion that I'd be president. They've since allowed me to
You
take
tempered
back
that
that promise.
enthusiasm. You tempered that enthusiasm. with
But I played a character called Cornelius McKelvey. Coach McKelvey was the head football coach at Tampa
Yeah, I
Catholic
forgot
at
about
that
him.
time. So, but that launched me in my political career.
well, listen.
And what changed your mind
Yeah.
and made you want to be a priest?
Let's go there for
That's a
a
good
second.
question.
Yes.
That's a good question. Thank you for asking
Great
that. At St. Lawrence, I think if you went to Catholic school, it was a quite natural thing for a young boy at a school like that to think about
Consider
being a
it.
priest, because the nuns and
Right.
Monsignor Higgins and the priest would encourage it, parents would encourage it. But by the time I got to Tampa Catholic, I started to get interested in politics and law. But I went to Florida State, and I was visiting one Saturday. I went to Mass at USF, the USF Catholic Student Center. There was a prayer on the back of what we call the missalette, which had the prayers and readings for church.
Yeah.
I prayed the prayer, and something in my heart said to me, I didn't hear a voice, but just something in my heart that said that God wanted me to be a priest. So I told my parents, in fact, they told me, go talk to Father Higgins. So I did. I thought I was going to be a religious order priest. I'm a parish priest, a diocesan priest. We serve in the Diocese of St. Petersburg, Hillsborough, Pinellas, Pasco, Hernando, and Citrus. Religious orders, like the Jesuit, can serve anywhere. They usually serve in education or whatever their apostolate is. I went to see Father Higgins, and he made it clear that I had a call to be a parish priest. So by the time I finished, and then I went back to Florida State and prepared to enter the seminary. So.
And the seminary takes how long typically?
4 years of college. Well, when I was in 4 years of college, 4 years of theology.
Wonderful.
Wow.
That's
very
the story that we
That
were
was-
looking for.
that was great.
Because we had all asked ourselves, at some point in pre-production,
Yeah.
leading up to the show, I wonder
did
where
how
did
did
it
it get
turn?
there?
Yeah.
Right.
Where, well, and now we know.
Yeah, great
That's
story.
the question we were all
for sharing
wondering.
that.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Great.
go ahead and load the phone lines because we don't want to get out of here without at least getting one or two or a bunch of
and I'm
calls
sure
from
they
you.
wanna- they wanna
Of
talk
course,
to
they're
them.
waiting to talk. So here's the number. Stevie, give it to them.
That number is 813-977-6800. There it is on the screen.
Darling, you give it to them too.
813-977-6800.
And for good measure, Father Tom, give him that number.
813-977-6800.
Now listen, Father Tom just gave you the number, so go ahead and pick up the phone and give us a call.
us a It works.
call, yeah.
And there you go.
Oh,
And I'm sure you have a question for Father Tom, or just you want to say hello. Maybe you haven't seen him in a little while, or maybe you saw him last Sunday at service and you want to tell him, Father Tom, I hope you picked up my sweater because I left it at the church. And is it in the lost and found?
That's not your job, though, right?
My job is everything.
Okay.
I was just gonna.
Yes,
I was gonna ask you that because
Yes.
I attend, every other month the West Tampa Chamber of Commerce
correct.
in Higgins Hall. We have our events there, and there's one coming up next Tuesday. So when we're there having our lunch, what are you typically doing? What's a typical day for you like? And that's a good question, right?
It is a good
All right,
question.
good for me.
Normally I get
this
up
is
about
good.
5:30, try to exercise,
Come on.
pray,
There you go.
do the prayers that the church asked me to pray for the people of God.
Sure.
Usually have Mass. I'm into the office, whatever's there, whoever's called. Sometimes working and preparing couples for marriage, or people need counseling, and then lunch, and then back to the office, little midday prayer, back to the office, again, over the school. Sometimes I teach at the school. I've gone through all the grades now, and I teach a class for 8th grade each month. And then usually there's meetings or classes in the evening. If I'm lucky, I'm real lucky, everything finishes by 8 o'clock.
That's a
Back to the
busy
house.
That's a full day.
Full
Father
schedule,
Tom, it's
yeah.
a
Very
full day.
I had no idea.
Try to get a little bit more exercise, pray, then go to sleep.
Now, do you have certain assignments you're required to do, or projects you have to work on, or?
Ongoing, there's different things that we're working on. We're always trying to, we've got an outreach to the people who are in need. We have something called ministry called Matthew 25. I've done some great things. They've done great things. We have a Thanksgiving dinner that we've sponsored the last couple of years, and so we're in the preparation now for Lent. And so we have we have a Lenten and an Advent gathering where we invite the people to come to the parish hall. We have a meal, we have some catechesis, do some talks, and then we close with prayer and send them home. So it's always things like that are going on.
Always
Trying to
something going
keep
on.
get people closer in their walk with the Lord.
There you go.
Good.
We also we can talk a little bit about the good work that's ongoing currently with St. Lawrence Church and your sister church in Cuba. Is that correct? We can touch on that as well. We do have a caller, so we're going to go to our caller now. We do have a line open, 813-977-6800. Darling, take this.
Hello, caller. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Welcome to the Tampa Natives Show.
Robert Gonzalez from West Tampa.
Hey, Robert
Hey,
Gonzalez.
Robert, thanks for calling.
Hey, I told you this morning when I saw you that I would go call Dave.
Yes, you did.
Now, I
Excuse me.
have never been associated with the Roman Catholic faith. I never even attended a service in the Roman Catholic faith.
But you say that with love in your heart. Go ahead, Robert. We can hear that.
My ancestors come from Cuba, as you know.
Sure.
Now, my father's side, they were Roman Catholic. My mother's side, not so much. My grandfather was a lay pastor in the Episcopalian church, and where my mother grew up in Ybor City, it was close to the Centro Estudiantil building. Right around the corner from where she lived was the Ybor City Presbyterian Mission, and my mother was very involved in there from when she was a member of the youth group. I have been a Presbyterian all my life. When Ybor City Presbyterian Mission closed up, they eventually came to what is now the home of the Judeo-Christian Clinic, St. John Presbyterian Church.
Hey, that's right there on McDill.
Right.
Yeah, real close to St. Lawrence.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, now, my wife's Carrie's youngest sister has been a long-time member of St. Lawrence, and her husband, and her son was an altar boy there. Her name is Barbara Bell, and her husband Clarence Bell. And her son's name was Lance Bell. He also went to St. Lawrence School, and then he graduated also from Tampa Catholic also. And but
So wrapped in there, Robert, wrapped in there is a question, I'm sure. Because we're still waiting for the punchline, but now that you've established for Father Tom that your roots and your
Presbyterian.
Yes, and Episcopalian, and your faith is strong. Hit us with a tough question, man. Come on.
well, I told you my father side was Roman Catholic. I had a lot of cousins. I went to weddings scattered at Roman Catholic churches all over Tampa, including Espiritu Santo in Safety Harbor.
Okay.
And
name dropper you.
my Harry was raised at OOPH in Ybor.
Another name dropping.
Yeah, but we converted over to, she converted over to the Presbyterian Church when she married me.
So if I hear you correctly, maybe Father Tom has a question for you, because we're just trying to get you to that question, Robert. And I know it's there, it's coming.
No question.
Oh, you got no question?
He's
Just
just
a comment.
telling us
Just a comment.
I got a question for you. I got a question for you. With all of this, and Father Tom, you can chime in here too. With all of this, did you ever think about maybe going into the seminary yourself?
I felt the call going to become a pastor years ago. I never did fulfill that call. I now feel that I'm being called to go into another form of ministry at St. John Presbyterian Church.
But your faith is strong, because we know that about you, my brother. Reach in my pocket and get this coughing.
My daughter went to Roman Catholic school. My daughter went to Villa Madonna.
See? You just keep dropping names, man. Pretty soon we're going to know that you laid the cornerstone at, Oh, yeah, Robert, give us your Bolita number. If you don't got a question, we'll clear the line for the next caller.
Right, 37.
37. All right. Thank you, Robert, for calling. We appreciate it.
All the time.
All righty. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Robert Gonzalez, he, again, deep roots in Tampa, and like all of us here, strong desire to make sure that these stories continue to perpetuate for all of us.
Right, absolutely.
And did he miss a church? No, he didn't come up with Christ the King. He didn't say nothing about Christ the King. That was the only church he missed. That's the church that I think he laid the cornerstone on.
But he raises something interesting, which is true in Tampa as well as in many places in the South, is that there weren't Roman Catholic churches at one time in many places. Now, there's a long history in our area.
That's correct.
Sacred Heart, St. Louis, before there was a Sacred Heart downtown, it was called St. Louis.
Patrick's was in South Tampa.
And so when people came to Tampa or they came to the United States, they went to the church that was there.
Right, the closest.
Which is quite common. And if you see sometimes people with Hispanic names, it's quite common that, my aunt, her mom, Mrs. Alvarez, was a Baptist, very strong Baptist.
Yes,
And So I think he's identifying something quite common to
Yeah,
our area.
the neighborhood affiliation. In other words,
You brought up a good point, yeah.
and it was convenient
Right.
for you to go to and seek out whatever was close. You know, you weren't necessarily going to live in this part of town and travel a great distance. There was also some convenience factors involved.
There's also a very convenient moment, because I have to let everyone know that we only have 15 minutes left of this wonderful
She
show.
always does that.
Wow.
That's how she got the
That's
moniker.
how she got the name.
15
I get it
Girl.
now.
See? Everybody, the light goes on. At one point, the light goes on, and she gets us every week about this time, and we're so glad you're back on step with us, darling. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
definitely.
813-977-6800. Two lines open if you want to give us a call right now. We're looking for a call from St. Augustine, are we, Steve?
Well, possibly.
Because you're on the clock.
I know. We'll see.
Stevie, did you have a question for Father Tom? I know you've got your
Well,
cheat sheet.
well,
there.
yeah, I did have a question.
ahead.
Father Tom, how do you see your role as a parish priest in relation to the community around you?
Good one.
It's a very good question, and living, in the shadow of Monsignor Higgins, who obviously
Big
is
shadow.
still involved in the community. I have to say, to my, I don't want to say my shame, I haven't done what I have done in other places. In Citrus County, when I was pastor up there at St. Scholastic in Lecanto for 8 years, I was much more involved. We have St. Lawrence School, and when I arrived at St. Lawrence, I tried to get involved a little bit at Tampa Catholic, and I had to back off. I just felt I need to make a commitment to be as present as I can at our parish and our school. And so I really, if I had years ahead of me, I would say that would be something I need to give attention to. But certainly Monsignor Higgins is one of the reasons why he's so loved by Catholic and non-Catholic.
I was just going to say, I don't think there's anybody in Tampa who doesn't know that name.
Absolutely.
And know
So
who
true.
he is.
So true.
I saw Tom McMullen. McMullins grew up on Bar Drive. Tom McMullen was campaign manager for Nick Nucio. His wife, Margaret, was Nick Nucio's secretary, and Mike McMullen was in my class. But Tom's passed away now, but when I first got to the parish, we were at an event at Higgins Hall, and he's a good friend of Monsignor Higgins, so it was said with love. But Monsignor walked by us, and Tom McMullen said, "Hey, he's looking for a camera," because Monsignor tends to get in the paper a lot.
Yes, he does.
He does.
That's funny.
Great
That's
story.
pretty good, actually. I guess we've got yeah, sure.
Yeah, we do have a couple more,
We should get to those, and then I've got a question on the backside.
I have a question also.
Okay, good deal. Let's run through these real quick.
Well, there you go. There's the notables from Tampa Catholic. Kathy Canella sent that in.
Right, she did.
Steve's,
Most likely to succeed.
Yeah,
And I would like to say that with about 10 minutes to go, Father Tom, and that was, I guess, the 9th notable on that list, correct?
Number 9.
There is no doubt after tonight and your appearance on the Tampa Natives Show,
It'll be
you have
number one.
fulfilled that prophecy, because you have succeeded, my good man, by appearing on the Tampa Natives Show, huh? We're giving him the Tampa Natives Show bump tonight. Watch your sermon watch you on Sunday. You're going to be all over the place. They're going to be. Oh, who's this here?
Well, that's Monsignor Higgins there. I think that's when I was first ordained. I had my first Mass, which is when a Catholic priest is ordained, you usually have a Mass, your first Mass at your home parish. And
How old were you?
I was
28?
26.
Okay.
I think that's correct.
Wow. That's pretty neat. Baby, what's your question?
My question is, do you feel like the Catholic Church has changed any in the time that you've been a priest? For the better or for maybe not so?
It's a leading question because there's a Pope Francis question
Absolutely.
And
subtext.
how do you feel about
Subtext.
Pope
Yeah, Pope
Francis?
Francis.
I don't have, I grew up at St. Lawrence, a good question. I have no memory of Latin except one phrase. I do remember some things being a little bit different. I was an altar boy, you had to move the gospel book from one side to the other. But I remember at St. Lawrence only going to church and the service being in English. So the Second Vatican Council, which was the Council of the Church, started by Pope John XXIII and Pope Paul VI, finished it, really set the direction which we continue to feel the effects of to this day. And so I have no other experience of except, the person of Pope Francis really capturing what the church, as he said, I think he says so beautifully, the church has to be a church that's not just locked up in a building, but going out to the God's people. And so I would say that for me, if I've seen any change, he's reminding us. The second sometimes when
Get out there.
you get
Yes,
when an event
right.
happens in the past, it loses its impact. He's calling us back. You know, just like the example of Monsignor Higgins. Be in the community. This is your home.
Be present.
That's correct. And I think that's what I would say is I think, you know, it's so easy. I don't care whether you're Catholic or Baptist or wherever you are, to center all your activity only inside of your church.
That's awesome.
We got two callers on, and our show is rapidly coming to a close. The question that I'm going to ask you after the backside of this, I'm going to ask you now, and you can ponder it when we look back from this caller. Will you at some point, Father Tom, get the keys to the car? Will Monsignor Higgins give you the keys to the car? And we'll get back to that in just a minute. Caller, you're on the air with the Tampa Natives Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Karen McMullen, Tampa.
Hi, Karen
Hello.
McMullen
Hey,
from
Karen.
Tampa. Is this your first time calling?
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. That's for you, that bell ring. Hey, do you know this fellow sitting to my right?
Yes.
Because he's mentioned the McMullen
Yes,
name
I was
about
going to say,
15
we've
times
heard that
tonight.
name often.
Yes, I grew up with Father Tom on Bar Drive.
Okay, there we go. So he's not telling a story. That actually happened.
Yes.
Very good. Well, what do you know about, what can you tell us? Give us your best Father Tom memory when he was a young whippersnapper.
He's always been a great guy. We always knew he had potential.
Very nice.
And he's lived up to that now. Look at him now. He's on the Tampa Natives Show. That's pretty good. Karen, talk to us here on the
listening to
phone,
it,
darling,
too.
because there's a little bit of a
Yeah.
delay and it's going to throw you off. So just look away from the TV for a minute and talk to us on the phone.
Okay. What is one of Father Tom's best memories on Bar Drive?
Oh, it's a good question.
Good question.
Well, the McMullens.
There has to be something about Karen, 'cause she's on the phone.
Well,
Don't
two
disappoint
two
her.
things real quick. My first bike ride.
Okay.
I remember that's the first bike I had was on Bar Drive. I fell off first
Okay,
first
all
time,
did.
but
I did too.
Karen McMullen, the McMullens had, I forget Karen, what was her name? Karen, they had the housekeeper, lady who used to take care of y'all.
Lita.
There you go. She was a little tough. And I was always scared to go to the McMullens' house, but they loved her, and that just reminds me that
Lita.
Lita, yeah, but
There you go, Karen. That's Father Tom's
good memory.
best memory
Great
of
story.
Bar Drive, how Lita, your housekeeper, terrorized him. That's, you can sleep well tonight because that's...
Terrorized us also.
now,
And another bell ring for you, Don.
real quick, I'll tell you a real quick story. Again, Tom McMullen's story. Tom McMullen, Nick Nucio's campaign manager. Now, he told me this story, and Karen knows it as well. Dick Greco was going to run against Nick Nucio. And Nick Nucio, according to Tom, told Dick Greco, tell Dick Greco, Tom, if he waits, I'll support him in the next election. And Dick Greco apparently said, I don't need your support because I've got the Italians and the Spanish,
Spanish.
and you're too old. Karen, is that a true story? You still there, Karen?
Yeah, she's still there.
That is true.
There you go. Wow, okay.
Wow.
Now, which is
great.
only interesting because that would have been a good story.
Yeah.
I love Dick
I
Greco.
do.
I have great respect for Dick Greco.
Sure.
He's one of the great mayors of Tampa. That would have been a good story when he ran recently to
Yeah.
Tampa.
Oh, maybe we can get him on the show. We can
That'd be
ask him
awesome.
about that in person. Hey, Karen, we got one more caller we'd love to get to before we get off the air. We got about 5 minutes to go. Thank you so much.
What about your Belita number?
Yeah,
We
give
have
us
a
your lucky
little
Belita
drawing.
number between 1 and 75.
11.
11 it is.
Thank you so much. We're here every Thursday. Look in on us, Karen, from time to time.
Okay.
Thank you, hon.
Thanks,
Bye-bye
Karen.
now. We'll go to our last caller of the night on line 5. Caller, you're on the air with the Tampa Natives Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Bob Garcia from Wellswood.
Hey, Bob Garcia,
Hi,
talk to
Garcia.
us on the phone. Don't talk to that guy on the TV because he's about 7 seconds behind the phone
Yeah.
guy. There's Father Tom. Say hello. He's waiting.
Hey, Bob.
Bob, just talk to us on the phone. Turn the TV down.
Well, first of all, I wanted to say that we really appreciate the photos. Hello.
We hear you, Bob.
This is our Bob, Steve.
Keep
This is
going.
our Bob. You know who this is, right?
Oh,
Keep
sorry,
going.
Bob Garcia.
Yeah,
Okay,
This is our Bob. Steve, have you got your car keys?
I have him with me.
Okay. Go ahead, Bob.
That's right, Steve. I got your card.
There you
That-
go. This
that's
is our
Bob. I didn't know it was you, Bob.
Go ahead, Bob.
West Tampa, Bob.
Turn
Keep
the
talking,
TV,
Bob.
Turn the TV down and keep talking.
Sure. No, I wanted to say, first of all, thank you for the photos of Wellswood.
They were fantastic. They brought good memories, and also to give us that Father Tom gave us an insight about his career. One of the things that he had mentioned was his political career. At one time, priests could serve in elective offices.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
And I don't know if down the road, if a miracle happens and they allow that, would he be interested in combining both career as religious and certainly in the political field?
Great question,
That's
Bob. We're going to let you go because we're coming to the close of the show. Oh, yeah, I'll see you next Tuesday.
Give us your bolita number.
Save me a seat at the
at chamber luncheon.
At the chamber luncheon, por favor, and give us your lucky bolita number 1 to 75.
13.
13 it is. Thank you, Bob. We'll see you soon.
Okay,
Thanks for calling, Bob.
Thank you so much.
That's great.
Quickly, with about a minute to go, political aspirations?
Pope John Paul II changed that he felt that we should encourage the people, the laity, to be involved in government. If it changed, separation, absolutely. But if it changed, I no longer, it was one of the nets, the Lord, when he called disciples, they left their nets behind. I've left that behind and I've moved on. So.
Well, let me say, go ahead, Steve.
Well, quick news flash too. Sure. I've got a message from Kimball.
2 minutes.
Dale Kimball. Jim Carney's brother Tim is married to Father Tom's sister Kelly.
Oh, how about that?
God, I got
Carney.
goosebumps
I know.
right there. He was an amazing
We missed Jim.
fan of the show. We miss
Was
him
he?
so much.
He really was.
He
He
used
called
to
in
call the
almost
show
every
all
week.
the time.
Every
we
time.
miss him so
Every
much. It was
Thank you for
devastating when
that.
we heard the
Yeah.
news.
Thank you for
That's
that.
family for you.
Yeah.
Listen, our show is almost over. We're not going to draw any bolita balls tonight because, first of all, Robert Gonzalez has won everything there is to win here. We're going to send Karen one of our Tampa Natives reusable market bags. Okay, and who was the last caller? Bob Garcia.
Bob
I'm going to send you
Garcia.
one next week at the chamber luncheon. So no drawing tonight. Father Tom, did you have fun?
I really enjoyed, like I said to you at the beginning, I appreciate this because this is important to me. And it's like playing a song that you really love that nobody else seems to care about. That's what this program does for me, is that the fishing, crabbing, going to the old
Right.
Tampa airport, all those things
Other good old
that
things.
made up my childhood and made up my life here in Tampa are very important to me. Being a Southerner, sense of place is always important. And so I'm just glad to be with you.
Well, we're glad to have you.
That's awesome.
With about 30 seconds to
Yeah.
go, I'm not going to say anymore because it doesn't get any better
No.
than
That's
that.
about
I
as
just
good
want to
as
say,
it gets,
Father Tom,
exactly.
thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Yes.
And listen, come
It's a
back and do
pleasure.
this again sometime,
Thank you.
okay?
Thank
We'll
you.
see you when you bring Monsignor Higgins
You're a
back.
great guest.
Thank
Everybody
you.
cups
Thank
up,
you.
and let's just say
Let's do it,
that
guys.
thank you, Father Tom, for sharing some wonderful insights on
Absolutely.
behalf of everybody that puts this show together. There's Steve Canella. Here's Sally Nunez. Father Tom Morgan. I'm Mario Nunez. Salud,
Salud
and
and
happy
happy
days.
days.
We love you, Tampa.
Yes, we do.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Father Tom.
You're welcome.
Back when we were younger and everything seemed new, we used to have a lot of fun, yes we did, no matter what we do. Sleepy days, long summer nights, going anywhere we please, with love that I could call my own, love that I've always known, the city that I call my home, a home from which I never roam. This love affair was meant to be. I love her and she loves me. I remember Tampa, oh, she remembers me. She remembers me. I remember, yeah, yes I do. Oh, I remember, yeah, me and you. I'm a Tampa native, Tampa native, can't you see? I will share my story with you to preserve its history. All right now, don't forget, Thursdays, 7 p.m. on TBCN, home of the Tampa Natives Show.